Hello everyone, welcome to the Finale Mondiale 2016. We're live from Daytona in the US of A. What a weekend we have in Prospectors. Darkness begins to fall across Daytona and the floodlights come on here, where we can only use, the floodlights are going to be at 25% of their power capacity so as not to dim the rest of the city. This is such an exciting prospect as we reach the very final weekend of the Ferrari Challenge across all the geographical series. Europe, Asia Pacific and North America as well. There is the 5.729 kilometer circuit and the infield section, of course, being used, and the grid girls just awaiting their moment of fame and their cue to be out there in and amongst the cars. There's our pole sitter Kaufman then, who's done an absolutely brilliant job, a North American racer and therefore knows this place very, very well. It always forms part of the Rolex 24, does the North American series of the Ferrari Challenge. Alongside me is top GTE racer and a Formula E racer as well, Sam Bird. Welcome, Sam. This is just, I can't almost put into words the enormity of this place because it's massive.
The enormity of this place and the enormity of the special occasion that we're a part of this weekend, you know, the Ferrari final.
Here it is.
It's amazing to be here. I'm so happy to be here.
It is an enormous place, it's an enormous atmosphere, and you know what, Sam, you and I involved in racing, we still get the butterflies in the stomach because we're so excited about it, and that's certainly been the case here, and under the lights as well, almost brings a kind of a special romance to it as well. How much of a disadvantage are our European drivers going to be against our North American cousins who have experience of this circuit, which is unique?
It is a unique circuit and it is going to be challenging, but looking at the driver lineups, you know, people coming from Europe, I mean, you've got Fabio Lima on the front of the grid.
He's not a bad peddler, is he?
I mean, Fabio Lima, guys. Fabio Lima is a GP2 champion. In actual fact, he beat me to the championship title for my sins in 2013. You know, the guy is seriously quick. You've got some big hitters there from Europe, so. Yeah, it's going to be tough for them. They've got their work cut out, but I'm fully expecting, especially Fabio, to probably pull through on this one.
Now, we use such a big part of the oval here at Daytona, as well as the infield section of the circuit as well. Now, you know, if you get it right, if you get your exit right, can you overtake on the oval? You know, in these cars, we're talking about, of course, the 458 Evo, which the final races for the 458 Evo before we move to the 488 next year. I'm just trying to ascertain where we're going to get some overtakes. Is it only going to be in the infield section, or is it going to be on the oval as well?
No, I think that the passing opportunities are into turn 1 and 2, into turn 3, into turn 5, and then out of turn 6, you've got to be looking for a good exit. Probably not looking to overtake through the chicane on the back straight, but then looking to have a mighty exit through the last corner, you know, in Speedway 3, Speedway 4, and then having a look down again into turn 1, turn 2. That's probably the best overtaking opportunities.
So if you get it right going into turn 1, which is the heavy braking section, isn't it, where you know, that's a possibility. Okay, we see the Lima car there in the Octane 126 engineered colours, of course, the Swiss team that engineer both Lima and also Bjorn Grossman. Bjorn Grossman had a torrid qualifying. He's down there P36. Now, bear in mind, he is the TrofeoPirelli Pro champion. Had a torrid time of it. There was a discussion going on that there was a misfire, there were some tyre issues as well, but what that has meant is, you know, when you get the one hit at qualifying, you've got to nail it, and Bjorn did not nail it, and he's a long way back down on the grid, and he's another one for my money who will do his level best to come up through the order. Fuentes is another driver you know.
Absolutely, no, Martin. We shared a car together in LMPC, really good guy, and he's done a stunning job this year in the Pirelli World Challenge. You know, he really came on song this year in the Ferrari, winning the record amount of races ever seen in a Pirelli World Challenge series. So he's one to watch for this race.
Daniel Mancinelli is another one that is on the grid and has raced in the European Challenge before, is representing North America and goes from P4. And let's get a little sampler and a taste of this circuit now.
I'm Rusty Wallace, and this is my first time in the Ferrari Challenge, and I'm really looking forward to it. My name is Rusty Wallace, and I'm the 1989 NASCAR champion. I've won 55 races and was inducted into the NASCAR Hall of Fame in 2013, one of the highlights of my life. I'm so excited to drive a Ferrari. I was able to test one in Austin, Texas, and the fit and finish on these cars is beautiful. The camaraderie, how everybody gets along, was incredible. The engineers are working with me, and just the acceleration and the sound of these cars is something that's really, really gets me excited. I've always wanted to drive a Ferrari. Now I get to. Racing on the banks at the Daytona International Speedway is really exciting. I've done it many times. There's a lot of banking angle here, almost 30 degrees of angle in the banks. And as a driver, when you get in the corner, the car really compresses to the ground. You feel a lot of G-forces on your neck and on the side of your body. It's really a great feeling. The cars really handle good in the banking. And I really can't wait for the rest of the Ferrari drivers to experience what I got to experience here at Daytona with those G-forces and excitement of getting through the high banks of Daytona. It's like nothing I've ever done before, a really cool feeling. Now please just enjoy the Ferrari Challenge race with all of us.
Cheers, Rusty Wallace, who's going to be alongside us doing your job effectively tomorrow, Sam. And we're about to get the race underway. So NASCAR star then is competing in this, and he'll be alongside us on air during the course of racing tomorrow. Hot news you can bring us from the grid, Sam Bird.
So hot news from the grid is car 68, which obviously is Fabio Lima, has pulled out of the race due to smoke coming out of it as he pulled into the pit lane.
From our position here, we can actually see the car coming back into the infield paddock area. What a blow that is for someone that we think very quickly would have probably been P1.
I think that, you know, my money was on him. When I saw his name on the sheets, which I couldn't quite believe in the first place, I thought, yeah, well, you know, a driver of his caliber, of his talent, winning so many races that he's done, I thought that, yeah, it was not a done deal, but he could still win. So a shame for Fabio, massive disappointment for him. So now it's up to Kaufman to do a good start, get into turn one nice and cleanly, and see what he can do.
Cooper McNeil, of course, will advantage from that as well, because he moves up a place. So does Daniel Mancinelli and Florian Merckx and Marcello Puglisi and Sam Smith as well. They'll all be thinking, here is gifted an opportunity to us because we've gained a place before the race has even started. 2 formation laps. You've seen all the social media on the screen. Do be part of this fantastic finale Mondiali weekend. Sam Bird and myself here to bring you the 30-minute race action. 2 formation laps for the TrofeoPirelli cars from North America, from Asia Pacific, and also from Europe as well, out there on track under the floodlights, which, as I mentioned, the floodlights here for our event are running at 25% of their power. Here comes the grid then. Kaufman and Lima, we know, is out now. McNeil and Mancinelli, that's the first 2 rows of the grid. Then we find Merckx and Puglisi. Sam Smith, a brilliant qualifying from him to go from row 4, and Fuentes goes from P8, which will become P7 effectively. Then it's Philip Barron and Martin Nelson. Hutasoy and Liu then occupy row 6 of this starting grid for race 1 at Daytona. Then it's Alessandro Vezzoni and Han, and Vladimir Atoev goes from P15. Then we find James Vineland, Henrik Hedman, Steve Wyatt and Weinberger then going rows 9 and rows 10. Romanelli and Steve Johnson. Then is Eric Chung and Rusty Wallace, the NASCAR star that we've seen on screen already. Podolicio, Car2, Zin and Fangio then rows 13 and rows 14 with Thomas O'Rourke and Mezzaro, Baker and Zing going row 15 and row 16. Zibranson, Nielsen, Jacques Diver, a welcome return to Jacques Diver, and John Frano bringing up the rear then on row 19. It's a packed grid of cars. It's a big track though, Sam.
Yeah, absolutely. We forgot to mention Grossman down there, another entry for the Octane team. So they're having a really, really tough time this weekend.
Yes, and Grossman's really poor qualifying brought about by a failure of some description. So Bjorn Grossman, who is of course the TrofeoPirelli champion, got a lot of work to do. The yellow car there is Sam Smith, the British driver, who is the TrofeoPirelli AM champion. And there is Philip Barron in car number 91, Martin Nelson in car number 13, that really distinctive livery of the Auto Roper team, as the excitement is beginning to build, and so too the anticipation under the lights. The headlights are on these fantastic 458 Evo cars, and we are not far away from going racing. Something about it, that under the lights it looks even more romantic than ever before.
Absolutely, there is something special about racing at night. So soon, guys, you can see now that they're still warming their tyres, warming their brakes. I reckon that when we get round the chicane, going into the final Speedway 3, Speedway 4, we're going to see them line up side by side, and that's when the adrenaline really builds. When you start to get into formation, you know it's business time. And
as a driver, that surely is when that anticipation builds to its height, isn't it? Just before you...
For me, it's built from the night before, mate. I mean, yeah.
It's great to have Sam Bird alongside us then, competing, of course, in the World Endurance Championship in the GTE Pro category, and also in Formula E too. And there's Alessandro Vezzoni and Martin Nelson really putting the pedal to the metal now. Just look at those brake discs light up now. It is critical, isn't it, to get the heat into the brakes, which actually dissipates heat through the tyres as well.
Absolutely, especially now that the temperature's cooling a little bit. You know, the air temp has gone down, track temp will be going down. It is critical to get temperature in your brakes, as we see a nice onboard now from Rocker. Are we going to stay on board for the start? No, we're not. Never mind.
Oh, what a sight this is off the banking then. 31 degrees of banking here through the speedway turns at Daytona, as the safety car then gets them all together. There's some pretty historic photographs being taken here as the Ferrari World Finals come to Daytona, and we are about to go racing. The green flies, and away we go. The first race of the Finale Mondiali weekend is on the tarmac. So the brake discs light up then as they go onto the infield section here through turn 1. There's a little kink through turn 2 as Martin Nelson loses out on a place and head up towards the first of the hairpins. Some people call it the International Horseshoe, others have other names for it as well. So through that hairpin they go, and then a blast through turn number 4, which is like a little kink, but actually it's a bigger kink than little, Sam.
Yeah, absolutely. In a prototype car it is. Oh, as we see
Eric Chung
going off at turn 2. Yeah, that little kink is not a little kink in a Ferrari. It's a proper corner, and you need to be brave, and it is tough. As we see a replay of the car going off, of Chung going off.
I was going to wonder whether Eric got an assist there, but actually I don't think so. I think just carrying too much speed there.
Carrying too much speed. It is difficult on the first lap of a race. I mean, if you haven't put those the temperature in the tyres, it can be very tricky.
Marcello Puglisi, we can see there in the number 9 car. Now, all the different denominations that you see on the graphics indicating whether they're racing in the Asia Pacific Series, North American Series, or the European Series, and whether they're an AM driver or a pro driver. But Kaufman is that leads the way from McNeil and Mancinelli at the moment, but already overtakes being looked at. Marcello Puglisi is looking really lively here, and so too is Florian Merckx. Florian Merckx, who of course has been racing in the Asia Pacific Series, a former European racer, but out there in the Asia Pacific Series now and having a good time of it, racing in fantastic tracks like Shanghai and such like. And Florian Merckx then, as we see side by side on the banking, got to have very nerves of steel, I would think, Sam.
Yeah, you do. Bankings can be quite daunting places. You know, you see IndyCar boys and NASCAR boys, they've got rather large kahunas at the best of times. So yeah, but going back to Florian Merckx, I witnessed a great race he did in Fuji.
Yes.
In fact, you know, he really dictated the races. We see some huge front tyre attempts from one of the front runners. I mean, they're running a serious brake bias towards the front. Whether or not he's going to experience some brake fade after 27 more minutes will be interesting.
Will that also, Sam, because of the heat that's being generated through that bias to the front of the braking, is that going to cause a problem with blistering on the tyres as well? Are they going to wear greater because of the sheer heat demand?
I'm not sure, but you're definitely seeing some people's front brake disc glow an awful lot more than others, which means that their brake bias is a lot more forwards than other people's. So will they experience some more deg from the front tyres? Will they experience brake deg? We're going to have to wait and see. It could be quite interesting over the last sort of 10 minutes if we do see a difference in wear due to a difference in brake bias.
And that's very much a driver's prerogative, isn't it? Some drivers prefer a looser back end, don't they?
As we see a car going slowly on the banking. I'm not quite sure who that was, but just down on the inside.
So we'll pick that car up in a moment. In the meantime, there's a real battle going on here between AM and Pro, because you've got Sam Smith there and Philip Barron right behind him at the moment. They're battling for P6 on the track at the moment, and the one that's out is the 238 car of Daniel Mancinelli, who we said was going to benefit from an advantageous start with the loss of Fabio Lima, but Mancinelli, it would appear, is out. Going back to what I was saying, some cars prefer to have, or some drivers rather, prefer to have a looser front end than back end, and that is a driver's prerogative. You decide which you prefer, don't you?
Absolutely. Just going back towards the front, though, it looks like Kaufmann's absolutely checked out. He's already built up a 2.2-second lead over 2 laps, which is absolutely fantastic. All he needs to do now is just control that sort of gap. He doesn't need to win by 10 seconds. A win is a win at the end of the day.
Sure.
He's done the good bit, which he's got out of the toe of other people. So around the banking, they can't get close to him, which is perfect. He just needs to keep that sort of gap, play it safe, and bring it home now.
There you can see the standings in the European Pro class with Puglisi and Barron 1-2, and then Vezzoni and Bjorn Grossman. Look, he's P4 in the Pro category, because the Pro category was quite small across Europe. Florian Merckx, who incidentally on track is being hounded now by Sam Smith, is leading the Asia Pacific Pro category, and there is the Daniel Mancinelli car. Now the engineer's looking at it, but Daniel Mancinelli joins Fabio Lima in the pit lane, sadly, and there is an example of what you were saying about lighting up, and that's McNeil, who of course is running in P2 at the moment, but is some 2.2 seconds behind our race leader Kaufmann, who, as you say, is checked out and is considering a hot dog as we speak.
It's great to see as well the strength of all of the championships that Ferrari do. Everybody's got a representative towards the front of the grid. You know, you've got Merckx in the Asia Pacific, you've got Puglisi for Europe, and then you've got Kaufmann and McNeil at the front in the North America. So it's great to see, you know, representatives of all those championships running at the front and going for a podium this evening.
Yeah, no, it is really, really good to see. And when it comes to podium time, you're going to have so many podiums across the different geographic regions, and of course across the AM and Pro categories as well. Fantastic shot there as the cars go into turn number 1. See them going 2 abreast there as we look at Marcello Puglisi, who's now running in P3 with Sam Smith, who's P4, who has got past Florian Merckx. So Sam Smith is certainly meaning business here, isn't he? He's going to...
Yeah, he's flying. He's flying.
Finish the season on a high. He's already achieved the AM Championship.
Well, he's actually, his last lap was quicker than the leader.
Good God.
So, yeah, get that AM off the car. Put a P for Pro.
Yeah, I don't think he'll be at AM next year. Ferrano then is there in car number 59, running down there in P30 at the moment, with the 221 car of Baker running in right alongside. So Philip Barron is also another one that's got past Florian Merckx now. So whether Florian has got a bit of an issue there as we watch Marcello Puglisi then. Philip Barron, of course, is the team principal of the team that's running Florian Merckx.
Yeah, he's done a very bad last lap, to be fair. 49.8 compared, you know, that's a second off what he probably could do. So whether he's got out of a rhythm, made a couple of mistakes, and a couple of bad exits while he was fighting with Smith,
yes,
we'll find out, or whether it's actually an issue.
Okay. Puglisi, meantime, what has he got? Just looking at the gap between Puglisi and McNeil, because they're running P2 and P3 at the moment.
It's stayed quite static, hasn't it?
Yeah.
The gap between second and third, it's kind of 7/8 tenths of a second. You know, that's a kind of battle that could develop as the race goes on.
And interestingly, the point you made right at the start of the race with regards to tyre deck could have an effect on that.
Yeah, it could do. I'm not sure whether rear tyre deck is going to be too much of an issue as we see a move going into turn one.
That was Barron on Smith. So Philip Barron has now put himself ahead of Sam Smith. Just see that in the back of the picture there. Ooh. Oh, and that's a big blow for Martin Nelson. So Martin Nelson for Scuderia Autoropa sadly is out. Was taking this race very, very seriously and spent some time in a simulator in Miami, Sam, just to get the measure of this before he even made it to the circuit.
Yeah, and it was paying off. You know, he had a really good qualifying.
Yep. Running in P9.
Yeah, massive shame. It'd be interesting to see if we had a replay of that, to see actually what happened, whether it was a tyre failure, whether it's contact with another car. You know, that did look quite an extreme blowout.
Yes. So battle for P3 then in the North America Am, as we see out also is the 299 car. That is coming to an end. Yeah, Lou there for Ferrari Vancouver. Ain't going to be going any further. Now, what has happened to our race leader?
What's happened to everybody?
Hang on, that's got to be a timing issue. Sorry.
Yeah, that's a timing issue, because you've got Grossman in P10, so I think. Oh, Kaufman's back at top now. There we go.
Yeah, no, we just had a slight issue with the transponders that send the information back to our timing screen. As we look at Alessandro Vezzoni in car number 27 then, who is running in P8 at the moment. Good showing from Alessandro Vezzoni. And we watch the cars around the banking there and the standings in the AM North America. You can see on screen, and regularly we put those graphics up on the screen so you can see who is where. Of course, our focus is on the European Championship, which at the moment our best placed driver from Europe is Puglisi, who's running in P3. And interesting to keep an eye on Philip Barron and see how quickly he can reel in Puglisi. At the moment, what is the gap? 5 tenths?
Yep. Interesting though, the fastest lap on the previous lap was by Grossman with a 48.4, I believe it was, and he's now up to 19th from 36th.
Ooh. Now, that was the Nelson car looking go. Vladimir Atuev had to take evasive action to avoid coming together with Martin Nelson, but that was a huge blowout.
That was, yeah. I'd wonder if that started, you know, a couple of corners before.
Yeah, maybe so. Must be a nightmare feeling as a driver.
It's not very fun. I've had it. It's,
sure.
Yeah, I've had better things happen to me.
Right. This is the battle for P3, and for my money, Barron is reeling in Puglisi now, because it's down to 4 tenths, so he's taken a tenth out of him. His last lap, Barron was a 1:48.525. So Barron means business here, doesn't he? And in the Pro European Challenge, of course, it is the battle for P1 and P2.
Yeah.
So Marcello Puglisi, then Philip Barron tracking him. Sam Smith is not far behind. Barron did get past Sam Smith just a couple of laps earlier. Now Puglisi.
I fancy a move into turn one here.
Yep, let's see.
Absolutely fancy a move into turn one. So as they sweep around the banking, see how he's a little bit higher, then he's going to sweep down to try and get the run down the inside into turn one. He's in the slipstream now. Let's see what happens. Is he going to move to the inside? Yep. Is he going to brake late? No. But the battle definitely is on for third, fourth. We thought it might be for second and third, but it's shaping up now that actually second place, it's very close between second, third, fourth, fifth and sixth. So it's all closed in a little bit, which could be really interesting. Safety car.
Yes, safety car has been deployed. Well, that's going to liven up the battle even more for us, because of course what that will mean is everyone will get bunched up. So why has the safety car been called? It is to recover the Martin Nelson car, isn't it?
Yeah.
So with the safety car out, that bunches everyone up, and there's some debris out there, isn't there?
Yeah, so they'll have to clear that up. Well, that's a massive blowout.
Do you know what? Fair play to Vladimir Atuev there.
Yeah, he's done very well.
He saw that coming, didn't he? And he had to dive out of it and avoid coming together with the Martin Nelson car. So we're live from Daytona, where Kaufmann, who of course is the one that will perhaps suffer the most for this safety car.
Yeah, he'll be a bit frustrated. He'd build up a three and a bit second lead. He would have been very comfortable. He was probably in a really good rhythm. Watching all of them squabble behind, he could have taken it nice and easy. But if he was taking it easy, he'll have slightly fresher tyres than second, third, fourth, fifth, because they were pushing. They were trying to keep track position because it was getting quite tight and quite fraught. Kaufmann had it easy at the front.
Point I was going to make was, yes, you're right. He was not having to battle quite so hard, was he?
No.
And therefore, perhaps he will have that advantage. I mean, he was still lapping very quickly indeed, and of course has huge experience of this circuit, which we could see from his P1 position, also his position in qualifying. But nonetheless, his 3-second advantage was gone. Here's a replay of the start then. The green flag goes down, and away the cars go.
Nice and clean, wasn't it? The
Yeah,
start.
it was actually.
Initially into turn one, we had the one driver go off at turn two, or
yeah, it was Eric Chung, wasn't it, that we saw out? But yes, you're right. Driver briefings have been interesting.
No customers.
So some shots of the teams then. And we're back live as the safety car then takes the cars around whilst they recover. The Martin Nelson car, the Scuderia Autoropa driver. And there's Ronnie Kessel from Kessel Racing, very successful GT and Ferrari Challenge racing team. And Ronnie, keep an eye on proceedings there. At this point, knowing how well Kaufmann had done, will McNeil be fancying his chances? I mean, just thinking, I mean, it's an opportunity for him, isn't it?
I think if McNeil's going to have a go, he's got to have a go at the restart.
Yes.
Because if Kaufmann continues the pace that he had, as we see another replay here, what's going on here? Nothing went on there.
No.
Yeah, if McNeil doesn't keep with Kaufmann for the first 3 corners, I fancy that Kaufmann will build a second gap on lap 1, and then he's got one hand on the trophy. But that's my personal opinion.
The one who will be fancying his chances is Philip Barron, who of course was reeling in Marcello Puglisi.
Yeah, I think anybody from probably seventh up can come on the podium here today. From Florian Merckx. You got Martin Fuentes up there. Sam Smith's doing a stunning job in his category and holding firm in P5. And then you got Barron, Puglisi, McNeil, Kaufmann. Kaufmann looks to be on a slightly different level at the moment. Or that first 10 laps or 7 laps was impressive. But anybody else out those 6 could be standing at the podium today.
Something you said right at the beginning of the race, after maybe 1, 2, 3 laps, was a very fair point that you made. And what is perhaps surprising, that's Vladimir Atoev for SMP Racing, who is sadly out now. That right across the geographical categories in Ferrari Challenge, there isn't a lot between them, is there? It's really, really good to see that the North American drivers, the European drivers, and also the Asia-Pacific drivers are all, well, if we look across the top 6, every region is represented.
Yeah, and it's not just the professional of the level of the drivers, it's the level of the teams as well.
Sure.
Everybody's come here to compete at the highest level, and they're doing that, which is fantastic. It also goes to show that Ferrari make a fantastic car in the 458.
Yes.
That's competitive, that's equal, that's fair, so that these guys, when they pay for their racing, so that when they come racing,
yes,
you've got a genuine chance of winning. If you work on the setup and if you're driving well, you can compete for wins.
We're running through the standings then in the various categories whilst this safety car continues to take the cars around the track. Still no information on our screen as to when the Safety car is going to be coming in. There is Kaufman then, the leader in TrofeoPirelli, representing North America, of course. He's the car first behind the safety car. You can see the rest of them there. But Philip Barron and Sam Smith vigorously weaving there to try and keep some temperature into those tyres.
Yep, well, you've got to. As I said, the sun's now gone. It's getting cooler. You know, you've got to keep your brake temps up. You've got to keep your tyre temperatures and tyre pressures up. The pressures in these cars, they'll want to run around 1.65 to 1.75 in terms of pressure. When you get into these kind of scenarios, it's cold and there's a safety car, they can drop to 1.25, 1.3.
That dramatic?
Very, very quickly, very quickly. And then if you get down that low, it might take 4 or 5 laps to get them up into a window again. You might not even ever get them back up to temperature if you're not working, and you might not get them back up to the correct pressure, so it is very difficult.
Safety cars coming in this lap, so we go back to race action for the remaining 12 and a quarter minutes that we have on the clock.
Everybody following the brand new 488. I'm sure that Kaufman will, you know, everybody next year will be driving the new 488, which I have the pleasure of driving at the moment in GTE. And that's an amazing car, isn't it? Which is a fantastic car, obviously developed extensively as now the race is getting underway.
Okay, we go back to race action then. We resume following the safety car, which was brought out to enable the recovery of the stricken Martin Nelson machine. Sam Smith coming under a bit of pressure now from Fuentes. Sam Smith in the all-yellow car. That's the battle that's going on for P4 and P5 and P6 on track. Philip Barron now right on the tail of Marcello Puglisi. He gets right alongside him. It's a long way around the outside there, and Puglisi doesn't give him a lot of room, and he runs out onto the grass. Can Smith take advantage of this and get ever closer to Philip Barron? Now, surely there was no way he was going to make that work around the outside.
I mean, it was ambitious. It was ambitious, but you know, the other guy did exactly what I would do, run him out of road. To be honest, I would have done exactly the same.
Fair play. But Barron isn't given up, and in fairness to him, his driving skill is amazing, because he was able to hold on to that on the grass as well, wasn't he, and keep the speed there. And you can see just how close the two of them are together, and this is the battle on track for P3 and P4. Philip Barron is the one that's doing the chasing at the moment. Yeah,
he'll be nice and hot in that car at the moment, won't he? I think the temperatures will be soaring. He'll be a little bit frustrated, a little bit angry with that manoeuvre, but he's just got to keep his head now, get a good exit through the chicane and see what he can do into turn 1 and turn 2.
Well, knowing Philip as I do, he will throw absolutely everything at this, and now the bit will be firmly between his teeth as once again he reels in the Marcello Puglisi car ahead of him. Philip Barron getting ever closer, ever closer, ever closer. Interesting how he's just a little bit further down on that banking than Puglisi is. Is he going to dive to the inside? Took a look at it, didn't he?
He did take a look at it. I expect that there's going to be no holds barred here in this move if he can get it done. After being on the grass. Oh, here we go. Great move. Is he going to keep it?
He's got to get his nose in front, hasn't he? And he's done it.
He's done it. Great move.
Now, that's exactly how you said that he could do it. He'd set that up from a long, long way back in the lap.
Yeah. No, that was very good. Impressed as well that he kept his head, because he could have done something that he could have regretted at the end of the day after being pushed out onto the grass the previous lap, but he kept his head. He was smart and did a good move in the end.
Okay, so now is McNeil going to be under pressure? Now, Kaufman has done exactly as you said. I mean, he's 1.4 up the road already, so Kaufman is clearly almost in a class of his own, isn't he? So now McNeil...
And it looks like Barron's already caught P2.
Yeah, so he's going to...
He's on a flyer.
McNeil's rearview mirror is going to be full, isn't it? And here's the Barron overtake once again. He just carried so much more speed, didn't he?
If Barron keeps this up, then Kaufman will have to pick the pace up.
So still just under 9 minutes of the race to go, isn't there?
Yeah. So on that last on this lap, Barron has been half a second quicker than McNeil in the first sector alone.
Look at him, it's all over the back of the McNeil car at the moment. So McNeil now, of course, this plays into the hands a little bit of Kaufman, who's able to get up the road and he wasn't under threat from McNeil anyway, but McNeil, of course, is going to be slower now because he's having to defend, isn't he?
Yeah. So it's got to be a distraction having the WeatherTech girls, looking after you. So McNeil, as long as he's not thinking about that. He should be thinking about Barron now, who's putting pressure on him going into turn 1. Is he going to try the same sort of move? He goes high on the banking and then he jinks low last minute. No, this time he's going to try high. That was well defended by McNeil that time.
Yeah, he put the car exactly where he needed to prevent either in or out, didn't he, really? So Barron now onto the infield section here through that little kink and heading up towards the hairpin. Heavy braking across the two of the cars. And, oh, and that's a big spin. Well controlled in the end for Danny Baker.
Well held, sir. I don't even know where that is. It just looks like tarmac. Now it's turned off, now it's turned back on.
That's a hard-in-the-mouth moment, isn't it? Oh! Took 24 cones and thankfully avoided any other cars. It was just...
I think that's either brake failure or...
I was going to say, you wouldn't have carried that much speed, would you?
That's bizarre. That is really bizarre. A spectacular, but bizarre.
Must mention Rusty Wallace, who's running in P16. We saw him at the start of the programme, absolutely delighted. Florian Merckx dropping down the order, as you pointed out there, Sam Bird. Rusty Wallace then running in P16, delighted to be out there in a Ferrari. Whichever way you look, there is something going on in this race. Oh, and that is why Florian Merckx is down the order, Sam Bird.
Yep, absolutely. I'm trying to look for... Who am I trying to look for? Yeah.
Can I just say, the outstanding, sort of creeping up, unbeknown to us almost, is Bjorn Grossman, look, who's up to P12.
Well, I said it under safety car, didn't I, that he was up to 19th. Now he's up to 12th. I fancy him to get into the top 10 by the end of this race, absolutely. We've lost Martin Fuentes from the front as well. He's pitted, which is a big shame.
Well, this battle continues to be fought out between McNeil and Barron. At the moment, McNeil has got the better of the number 91 car of Philip Barron, of course, running for Rosso Corsa, yet Barron Service in a team as a team in its own right, looking after Florian Merckx, who we just saw with a big off. But McNeil then with the better of him at the moment.
Yeah, when Barron overtook Puglisi, he did it, and he did it decisively, as we see a dejected Mr. Fuentes climb out of his car. Big shame. As I was saying, when we saw Barron overtake Puglisi, he did it quickly, instinctively, and it was done. The problem now is that Barron's been behind McNeil for a couple of laps and can't seem to find a way past. And that's when it becomes difficult. You get into a rhythm of just following the car in front if you're not careful. If you do it quickly, decisively, that's the best way.
It's just job done.
Exactly.
Whereas Cooper McNeil, to be fair to him, has done everything exactly right, hasn't he? He's defended very, very well from...
Yeah. Well, I think he's been clever. He sees that Barron's best overtaking opportunity is into turn 1, turn 2.
Yep.
And he's defended well there. Everywhere else, you know, it's...
Bjorn Grossman on the outside there. And he made that work, and that's against Florian Merckx, who, of course, we saw with an off a few moments ago. Now, these two have battled royal previously in the European Championship. Bjorn Grossman up high, and it's Florian Merckx down low. Then the two racers, Octane 126 versus Barron Service. A bit of history between those two teams, that's for sure. And Bjorn Grossman now up into P11. That's a good move by Bjorn Grossman, who has done a fantastic job from the very start of this race, when you consider he was last but 1 or 2 places on the grid, to come up where he has as he lights up the front brakes. And Barron again having another go at Cooper McNeil here, and he's as close to Cooper McNeil as he has been. But again, McNeil is just placing that 458 in exactly the right place.
He's placing it extremely well. So Grossman has made up 25 places.
That's
in 25 minutes.
Big achievement. This is why he is TrofeoPirelli champion, perhaps.
There you go.
Yeah, these are good races, aren't they? In a very good racing car.
Absolutely. I mean, this might not be the World Endurance Championship, but you've got some great drivers on this grid. You really do.
And actually, dare I say it, Sam Bird, we've not seen that many out, have we?
No, we haven't. We haven't seen that many out through mistakes. Oh, as we see Hang on.
Knew I shouldn't have said it. Commentator's curse. Sorry. Eric Chung is involved there, but had absolutely nothing to do with it. There was no contact there on the Pierre Nielsen car until then.
Yeah. So you've taken that back now, haven't you?
I have.
Okay. So
I have.
commentator's curse just
sorry.
absolutely struck. Last 3 minutes remaining then, so we'll probably get 2 more laps.
It's now or never for Philip Barron then.
Another good run onto the start-finish straight. In fact, he looks closer now than he ever has done. If he's going to get it done, he's got to get it done now.
Well, let's see if Sam Bird is correct here, because Philip Barron is throwing absolutely everything at Cooper McNeil ahead of him into turn 1. Now Barron will try and dive to the inside, but there's been some very, very consistent and competent defending from Cooper McNeil as well. And Barron himself has now got Puglisi, who's come back into the battle, hasn't he? So he's right in the middle there, hunting and being hunted at the same time.
Yeah, McNeil's displacing the car so well, especially into turn 1 and turn 2, making it very difficult for Barron. Barron's probably extremely frustrated at the moment. He knows he's quicker than the car in front, but there's just no passing it. He's placing the car so well. You can't go around the outside on this circuit.
And actually, knowing Philip as I do, it will be immensely frustrating. And it's at times like this where we have seen Philip make mistakes because he's tried just too hard and has got so frustrated that he's prepared to have a go where perhaps a go shouldn't be taken. But now, where's the next opportunity going to come? It's surely going to be into the chicane, isn't it?
I think he's too far back for the chicane. He's got to have a really good run out the chicane and try again on the final lap.
Right.
That's his best opportunity. But I think that he's doing the jink to the inside too late. He's got to get it done early. He's got to just get his nose on the inside down the front straight. If he can do that, you know, McNeil can't move over on him.
Okay.
He can't, otherwise they'll have an aeroplane crash. They'll land up somewhere by the sports bar down by the Best Western.
Kessel Racing's Von Skeltermar looks on now. It's now that Philip Barron needs to be setting this up, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And it looks like he's doing it.
To the outside again, unless he jinks back. Doesn't look like he wants to or is going to. No, see, it's too far around the outside there. It's too far.
Oh. Now that is
that's the damaged car of Chung, isn't it?
No, that's the car of Rusty Wallace, I'm sad to say.
Rusty Wallace.
So Barron has been denied once again, and we are on the final lap, so we think his best chances are gone now.
Kaufman's just controlled it, hasn't he, just as we said.
2.2 seconds to the good.
Yeah.
And I have to say, for my money, I think it's been impressive driving from Cooper McNeil as well, because under immense pressure, Sam, he's not made an error once, has he?
Well, you've already cursed one thing. Okay, we've got another 4 corners to go, so let's see how it goes.
Fair point, well made.
As Kaufman comes out of the chicane and through the banking.
What a victory this is going to be for Kaufman then. McNeil P2, Barron P3 around this phenomenal banking at this phenomenal circuit here in Daytona. TrofeoPirelli leader, Kaufman then. Ferrari of Fort Lauderdale. What a banner that is to have on your racing car, that's for sure. That 244 car has looked mighty impressive. We had the punctuation of a safety car in the middle of it. In the middle of the race, where of course his then just under 3-second lead was taken away, but he has not put a foot wrong when it's come to the restart, and just gradually eked out that margin again as he crosses the timing line and the checkered flag. And fair play to Cooper McNeil and Philip Barron taking P2 and P3, and Marcello Puglisi taking P4. What a race. And look at Bjorn Grossman, he's not finished yet.
Is he going to get another one over the line? I think he will. I think he just
did Alessandro Bezzoni, didn't he?
P7.
Henrik Hedman then takes P9. Jonsson is 10. Bjorn Grossman, P7 from second from last on the grid. Sam Bird. That's some pretty good racing, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, there are some people on this timing sheet that will be absolutely ecstatic. Obviously, the top three: Kaufman, McNeil, and Barron. Barron might be the most disappointed of those three. You know, I think he'll be quite frustrated. I think the Grossman's had a stunning race. You're disappointed to see Florian Merckx have a difficult day. I've seen him drive some great races, but he had a tough day today.
I agree with you. I've seen, Florian is one of those drivers who is absolutely outstanding on occasions and then seems to have just really, really torrid times of it.
And I know how much he wants it. He really cares about his racing, cares about his driving. So that'll hurt him today. He'll want a good race tomorrow.
So, Pro North America, Kaufman the winner, Ferrari of Fort Lauderdale. Philip Barron will be the winner for Pro Europe, and the winner for Pro Asia Pacific will actually still be...
It will still be Florian Merckx. Yeah.
So at least he's going to get a podium. But even so, on track,
he'll get a podium, but he'll be looking at it saying, I came 13th today. That's how I would be thinking of it as well. I know there's categories, classes, and different regions, but if I'm 13th overall, I'm not going to be too delighted, especially when he was running as high as 4th or 5th.
Yes. Yeah, no, I understand that completely. So the car's slowing down now, having delivered a stunning opening race for this finale Mondiale weekend. There's Sam Smith then, who's by some margin the winner of the AM category in Europe. It's been the story, really, of Sam Smith all year long. So expecting and hoping that he'll be back in the Pro category next year. Certainly got a bit of damage.
Yeah, he's got a bit of damage to the rear right, yeah.
He, in qualifying and in practice, he had a couple of rubs against the wall, which his father was telling me about. So
rub into racing. You look at his fastest lap as well, it's absolutely representative of a top 5 driver in this championship. So he's done a really good job there. You look at what he's been able to do in comparison to 3rd to 7th. He's right there with those guys, and he absolutely deserves to be there. It's not through people dropping out or through luck. He genuinely had the pace here today.
Anthony Cheshire to the very right of the picture there, who's his team boss from FF Corsa, based of course at Silverstone, giving him the thumbs up as he comes into the pit lane. And there, as you say, is Florian Merckx, who, despite having won the Asia Pacific Pro category, you feel that as a racing driver he'll still be disappointed because it was P13 overall.
Because he is a racer, and he really wants to become a full professional racing driver. That's one of his aims in life. I know that because he's spoken to me about it at length. And days like today will hurt. But you know what? Everybody has days like today. I've had plenty of them.
Yeah, and actually, isn't it the measure of you as a character is how you pick yourself up from that? Because you've got another race to do.
Your bounce back ability. Love that word. I'll say it again. Your bounce back ability is very important.
Okay, we've not used that.
There we go.
Sort of a wibbly-wobbly word, that one, isn't it?
Oh.
Bounce back ability.
Just look at that poor roof and sort it out.
There's Yin then in the 470 car, and pretty happy with that win is Kaufman, having done a really, really good job. Carlos is delighted. Photographs being taken, congratulations being offered. Then we have a whole raft of podiums. Here's the classification then. Carlos Kaufman taking the win from Cooper McNeil. Then it was Philip Barron, Marcello Puglisi, Sam Smith. Then it was Weiland, Grossman, P7, Alessandro Vezzoni and Henrik Hedman and Steve Johnson rounding out the top 10. And just look at the spread of the regions and the categories with Romani and Weinberger. Florian Merckx, Steve Wyatt. Then it was Rusty Wallace taking P15 for Arnaud Gin, Roca, Hudasoy and Mezzaro. And it's a lovely shot of all those cars in the pit lane there. And that is, just see Martin Nelson there, who's out of his car. And you're right, Sam, they're pretty hot in those cars, aren't they?
They do, you do get extremely hot. Some of the temperatures that we see in WEC are extreme. To the point where if we are not turning on the aircon, we could be getting a penalty.
Whoa.
Because the rules and regulations state that the inner cockpit temperature needs to be within a certain range of the outdoor temperature. And when you're racing at 40 degrees in a car is quite a lot.
Here come the highlights then of the first race of the Finale Mondiale weekend then, as the green flag was waved. The race got underway and they went 3 abreast into turn 1. Such was their anticipation and desire to get up the road and get on with it. Sam Smith was already doing well. Eric Chung was taking to the grass for a small rally crossing moment as he piled on the opposite lock. Thankfully, he was able to come back from that little incident. Martin Nelson had a disaster as his rear tyre let go. Vladimir Atoev for SMP Racing managing to avoid the stricken Scuderia Autoropa driver Martin Nelson. That brought out the safety car so that the Martin Nelson car could be recovered. Of course, the Carlos Kaufmann leading car, the 3-second lead that he'd built up, all of a sudden counted for nothing. But when the restart got underway, he was just as quick at getting up the road once again from Cooper McNeil. The battle between Marcello Puglisi and Philip Barron continued unabated, and even caused Philip Barron, as he was run out of road, to take to the grass. But it wouldn't be too long before Philip Barron was able to find his way past the Puglisi car number 9. And here we can see that overtake. All the braking pressure that he could put onto that brake pedal, but it was enough for him to go through. And then the chase was on to Cooper McNeil, who would not yield to the pressure from Philip Barron all the way to the checkered flag. But boy, did Barron give it everything that he could. In the end, though, it was Carlos Kaufmann who delivered a stunning performance here at the Daytona Raceway and took the checkered flag and the win for race 1 here in the Finale Mondiale weekend for Ferrari of Fort Lauderdale. Good result, as Philip Barron did everything he could for Rosso Corsa Racing to try and put that all-blue machine ahead of the white car of Cooper McNeil. Despite all his efforts, it wasn't to be. Sam Smith then, dominant, P5 in the race overall, but of course taking the win in the AM category for Europe. Philip Barron, of course, taking the win for the Pro category in Europe.
It's almost a shame to see these shots, because it's the last full time that we're going to get to see the 458 in action in a race. They've been such stunning cars for everybody involved with Ferrari. Obviously, we're now going to the 488, which is a belter of a car as well. But this is a fitting end to the 458 as we look forward to the new reign of the 488.
It has been a fantastic car, and I was amazed when talking to some drivers of just how different the car became with the Evo kit.
I mean, I can't really talk about that because no. I'm not experienced enough at the 458. I've come into the Ferrari family purely with the 488 pretty much.
Yes.
But I know how hard Michelotto, the company that developed the Ferrari, work on ensuring that the challenge cars, the GT3 cars and the GTE cars, you know, they're meticulously looked after. The development is extreme, and they've progressed through the years.
Something I relate to people is when you mentioned that you know, you have the privilege of working with Ferrari, is that
and here to present our trophies for the Ferrari Challenge TrofeoPirelli Europe, IMSA Chairman, Mr. Jim France, presenting third to Bjorn Grossman.
this is a moment that you would remember, isn't it? The IMSA Chairman, Jim France, making the trophy presentations.
There we go. I think I can remember every single one of my presentations and podiums.
Okay.
So it is a very special moment, you know, to stand up there. Of course, you're always proud.
So Bjorn Grossman has received his, Marcello Puglisi receives his trophy now, and the winner for TrofeoPirelli Pro Europe, Philip Barron, holds his trophy aloft. A great race that he delivered. In fact, all three of them delivered a fantastic race. And Mr. France there making the trophy presentation to Rosso Corsa. Of course, Stefano Guy, very much part of Rosso Corsa as well. And here comes the Pirelli trophy as well. Great looking trophy. So Philip Barron holds that aloft. What a fantastic night he's had here.
Now to present the trophies. Ferrari Challenge TrofeoPirelli Marchene, official Ferrari F1 test driver. Third place trophy, John Ferrano. Second place, Henrik Edmond. And the winning trophy, Sam Smith. And the team trophy, the Stratstone Ferrari. And now to present from Ferrari Motorsport manager, Theo Mayer, to Sam Smith, the Ferrari Award. To award our trophies, welcome Antonella Pomezza, head of Ferrari GT Sporting Activities. Third place to rookie driver, Rusty Wallace. Ferrari Challenge TrofeoPirelli, North America. Second place trophy, Cooper McNeil. And our champion from Venezuela, the Ferrari Challenge TrofeoPirelli, North America. Championship trophy to Carlos Kaufman. The Copa team receiving the Ferrari of Fort Lauderdale trophy gets the team award. And now from Pirelli, Dario Martinski, the manager, representing the TrofeoPirelli award to Carlos Kaufman on behalf of his team.
Very much. Grazie.
Scampering, others have also taken shelter. This is what it's all about. The taste of victory in Gatorade Victory Lane. Gorfleco Champagne Spray. Official Ferrari driver, third place trophy, Arthur Romanelli. Second place, Steve Johnson. And race winner, James Wyland. Also, receiving the team award for Boardwalk Ferrari, Theo Mayer, also from Pirelli Motorsport Manager, presenting the TrofeoPirelli Award to James Wyland on behalf of his team. sweeping to the podium in race 1 of the weekend in TrofeoPirelli Am, North America. Next up, the champagne spray. We're Fleco, the official champagne of the Ferrari Challenge. Now to present the trophies to these deserving drivers, Antonello Coletta, head of Ferrari GT Sporting Activities. Third place trophy, Ronaldo Huntesoitz. Second place to Steve Wyatt. And winner of race number 1, Ferrari Challenge TrofeoPirelli Asia Pacific, Florian Mertz. And presenting Florian the Pirelli Award, Pirelli Motorsport Development Manager on behalf of his team. Has now concluded what is race 1's celebration. Another race beckons tomorrow for these teams and drivers. Presenting our trophies to the Pirelli Am Asia Pacific, Giancarlo Fisichella, official Ferrari driver. Third place, Eric Schull, Canada. Second place trophy to Wheelan Hun of China. And champion trophy to Xin Jin of China. To present the Pirelli Award, Theo Mayer, Pirelli Motorsport Manager. Third race winner, Xin Jin, on behalf of his team. Congratulations, gentlemen. Champagne spray has just eluded the young man, running from Dan's arms, and indeed a wonderful celebration. The first of 2 celebrations we'll have for TrofeoPirelli Am, the Asia Pacific teams and their drivers. Wonderful.